Welcome back to another episode of the Culture Captures Spotlight podcast. I'm Joe, and today I'm being joined by Tasha Catour.
Hi, everyone.
Thanks for coming on today. Tell the listeners and stuff what you do, and kind of just put people on who may not already know.
Well, my name is Tasha. I'm a producer from Atlanta, Georgia. I've been producing for about 4 years now, but I've been, doing music for maybe more than 10 years.
So when did you start doing music, and when did you first kind of realize music was something you wanted to do?
I first started doing music when I was in the 11th grade, about maybe 10 years or plus ago. I just knew I wanted to sing. I was singing in church and everything, so I just, wanted to be intentional. When I, found out, my cousin, they had a little studio, in the basement. So we just started there, and I started writing songs and just trying to, figure out the structure and how it actually all goes together. And from there on, I just was a student of the game, and I just started studying just how people move, how the industry moves, how to get placements, and just stuff like that.
Yeah. So you said your cousin owned a studio?
No, it wasn't quite a studio. It was just like a computer and a little a little computer mic. They had hooked up to it.
Oh, so like a home studio.
Like a little home studio, but it wasn't even a home studio that you would think of today. It was much more rudimentary than what we use today.
Yeah, so but essentially your cousin was able to help you kind of get started and showed you the ropes and the basic fundamentals of being an artist and stuff.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So how long when did you start kind of taking producing, and you do engineering too, right?
Yes, I do.
So when did you were you always engineering your own songs, and when did you start doing the engineering and the producing and taking that as your priority?
Initially I just was, I was just singing and writing. I took it one step at a time. So at first I started learning how to write songs. I would get tracks from my cousin's friend, whose studio it actually was. And I would just start writing. And then once I went to college, I wasn't home anymore, so I had to figure out a way to still record. But I wanted to, my mom, I just asked her, could she buy me a setup for Christmas? So I asked her to buy me the Pro Tools and a laptop and a microphone and interface so that I could get started. And then I just twiddled around with it, and I just would, go on YouTube, or I would just sit beside some people while I was in the session and just ask them questions as I went. And that's kind of how I picked it up, how I picked up engineering. I just, figure out that you can use templates, and, what I'm saying, if I see a template that I like, I just ask the engineer for it. But hey, do you mind if I, take the template, or I just use I take the session for what we were doing that day, and I say the template from that and just use it for upcoming songs that I will record.
Okay. And you just got placement on the Space Jam soundtrack, right? With the Mine and Lil Tecca?
Yes, sir.
So how did that whole process come about, and that opportunity come to fruition for you? And I don't know if you've seen have you seen the movie? Did you get any kind of early access to watch the movie or anything like that?
I actually didn't. They we were trying to make it up to LA for the premiere, but we missed it. I was actually in Orlando working with another artist. But how it came about was one of the publishers from Universal hit me up and just asked me for some tracks. So I was just sending tracks randomly to him, over the course of just years, 2 or 3 years now, just sending stuff consistently. And one day he just called me and was just like, man, you know, one of your songs about to be on Stop. Well, we're working on one of your songs for a Space Jam. And I was like, really? He was like, yeah, so we need, you know, you to do some some more production. I had more dynamic to the track that I had sent him. And then we sent it over to this writer named Blaze. He ended up adding like some samples, like the slam samples. Let the boys be boys, that sample on top of it just to give it a build. And, you know, just writing a great record. And then we sent it over to Lateca and Amine to cut it over and manipulate, you know, make sure that the verse feels like them, add a couple words, take a couple words away, stuff like that. And, you know, that was it, really. We had to do a lot of post-production, just making sure that it was so cohesive, but, yeah.
No, that's super cool. So it took 2 years, or like 3 years, something like in that range, just for the beat to get right?
Well, no, not for the beat to get right, but it took 2-3 years for me to keep sending to, you know, get the right, you know, beat for him. Like, he was cataloging.
Okay.
Pretty much what they do is they, you know, you would keep sending beats, and then they'll put it in a catalog for what they think. He might have been looking for YG and Space Jam and then Fast and Furious at the moment. So if he hears something that fits that, he'll put it in a folder and then, you know, send it to some writers and see how it goes. But you just have to keep sending tracks, you know, as you go, because you never know what might hit.
Mm-hmm. And, like, you've done a lot of things, obviously, like, as an artist, like, both at, like, singing-wise and, like, producing, but was, like, that your first time kind of dealing with, like, the soundtrack side of it? Or, like, do you have other soundtrack placements that, like, I just may not know of?
Yeah, I have other soundtrack placements. I did, this is my second one this year. There's another movie called Boogie with Pop Smoke was in it.
Oh, hell yeah.
And I think it was a Korean basketball player was the premise of it, but it was, I got one in there. And then I did a couple of TV shows, like I did Insecure. I did some stuff for Star, the TV show Star. I did some stuff for Black Lightning. I did some stuff for, you know, Love and Hip Hop, One Up Hip Hop, a bunch of TV and movie stinks. Well, I'm getting more into that as my career progresses.
Right. And you've done some other dope placements. I know you have, like, off the top of my head, you have Rico Nasty, Future, Keke Palmer, like Tanashi, right? There's more.
Right.
Like, go into detail about, like, some of the people you've worked with and, like, just some cool stories about how some of the opportunities have came about.
I guess we could talk about Keke. You know, I met Keke through a record I did. Like, my first little hood hit, it was called Water. It was, you know, it was really big down in Atlanta. And when she came down here, she did like a little video, you know, dancing to it. And then, you know, I commented, I was like, hey, I produced that, you know, thanks for, you know, doing the video. And she wrote me back, was like, yeah, man, I want to work with you. And then from then, we end up, you know, recording a couple of records, and I end up, you know, executive producing her last project she put out. And, you know, she got me a couple of placements on Star. You know, she kind of helped me break into the TV world. With Keke, you know, doing some music things and stuff. Mm-hmm. So I'm super grateful for that. You know, it's just, this game is really just about relationships and, you know, you coming in with good energy, you know, being someone that people want to be around, and also being talented, but that's not, you know, it's not everything. You know what I'm saying? You still want to be a light in the room. You know, you want to be, you know, thought of when it's in a good headspace or whatever. But just, you know, building these relationships with these different people is really how I, you know, maneuvered, just period.
Yeah, no, that's a big thing, and, like, I don't know, you just said something, like, the game is really about who you know, for, like, everybody, throughout the whole, like, different levels of everything, and, like, how long did it kind of take you to learn kind of some of the harsh lessons that, like, you know, navigating through Atlanta can also be, like, a part of it as well, that, like, are in just the music industry?
I will say that I'm still learning every day. I'm learning something new. You know what I'm saying? I'm recognizing different nuances. Like, dang, I should have been doing this. You know what I'm saying? Little things that help me get further. I'm more of an introvert and just pushing myself to just talk to people, get up and just, go out to these events, be more outgoing, shake people's hand, let them hear your music, let them see your face, let them feel your energy, stuff like that is important, because, you'll be on the tip of their tongue, but like, I just seen Tasha Catour, let me see her opportunity. Or she'll be perfect for this. I just seen Tasha Catour, anything. It's really like that, just being on people at the tip of their tongue and just being consistent with you sending your records out. Once you do get these contacts, once you do, build these relationships, you keep nourishing them,
But yeah, can you talk about, like, just being in Atlanta and how, like, you have to just move in Atlanta's space and, like, compare it to, like, other spots, in the game that are, like, famous, like LA, New York, Chicago, like, just kind of, like, go into some of your, like, experiences there, using, like, going to different studios there and different spots to make music and stuff like that. Obviously the different artists that have came through there and are huge, right?
Yeah, most definitely. What I would say about Atlanta is we have a more community-based foundation. I would say it's more embracing. Like, in other spaces I went to, they toot their nose up at you sometimes. So they might not know you or know what you can do. But in Atlanta, like, everybody is stars. So everybody's open arms. Well, most of the time, if you can, get around the right circle, it's much easier to penetrate the game here, I feel like. Especially if you know somebody who's in the circle. But, I love the community. It's not really a crab in the bucket. Everybody's working together. All the artists are collaborating. Producers are collaborating. Like, hey, pull up, let's cook up. You know what I'm saying? It's really about you being intentional here rather than, being... It's a little cliquish, but it's not really as cliquish as, other cities would be.
Yeah, how is it... How would you say, like, the producers, like, like the term producer community and stuff, like... How would you say that is in Atlanta versus maybe just, like, the online producer community, and, like, how do, different producers and people, like, really, like, link up together and stuff?
Yeah, pretty much like I said, you just, be intentional about, hitting people up. Like, I just DM, when I first got that hood hit, that I was talking about the water song, Buddha Bless his beat, he hit me up and he was just like, let's cook up a 10-pack. He just DM'd me. And, what I'm saying, we built from there. So it's really just about pulling up and writing people and just, say, hey, I want to work with you, and just actually making it happen. That's really, not really that hard.
Like, I've talked with other producers about it in the past, how they feel like Instagram is damn near like an active resume where, like, people can just interact with it, but it's also, like, a launching spot for, like, fans to, like, be, like, attentive to what you're dropping. Like, how much do you kind of agree with that, like, and feel about that?
Oh, yeah, Instagram is super important. That's the first thing they're going to go look at. They're going to ask you for your Instagram, and they're going to scroll down and see your credits, see what you got going on. So I would say treat it as that. Make sure you got your, your accolades up so that people can see what you got going on, But, yeah, Instagram is super important.
Yeah, and how much do you obviously you use it a lot as a tool, I'm assuming. Like, do you see a lot of value in, like, the TikTok stuff that people are doing recently, where, like, people are getting their shit going on that app too, and, like, getting videos behind it and all that?
Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely trying to tap more into TikTok as of late. I've been trying to, just showing structure of beats and, how you cook up, and just lifestyle videos on there. People want to see what you're doing every day. How do you balance, work life and work life situations and stuff. So yeah, TikTok is super, super dope. And just giving tips, adding value. Yeah, super dope.
Who are some female rappers that you've had like the pleasure to work with that you would want to do a full album for, like a full 10 track, 12 track album for?
Honestly, everybody. Everybody. That I'm super here for women empowerment and just women clicking up together in this industry and just creating from scratch. All of them. Like right now, I'm at the City Girls songwriting camp right now, and we're just clicking up. That's why I had to run to the car to do the interview. But yeah, I'm over here working with them right now, and then I love Rico Nasty. I love Tokyo Vanity. Me and her did a project already together. Who else I love? I like Asian Doll, Cash Doll. Yeah, a lot of them.
No, that's super cool. And like, where do you see yourself kind of going with like the production in terms of like, do you want to start kind of doing the producer led projects, similar to like the Metro Boomin 21 Savage, like you're both the featured artists on the project. Like when do you see yourself starting to put those out more consistently, or not like consistently, but like those are like your biggest albums of the year, you know what I mean?
Probably definitely in the future. Right now I'm working on doing a lo-fi tape, like a chill hop type of vibe where it's just like, beats that you can work to and chill to and vibe to, and just releasing a couple of those instrumental tapes. I'm tapping more into that world right now. But right now, other than that, I'm just, I go my songwriting camp where I have a lot of, the songwriters come out and we jam out to all my beats and we just send them all out to different A&Rs to get placements. Like, it's really creating a machine and a community around, together or whatever. But other than that, that's really what I'm focusing on more right now versus putting out a CD with a specific artist right now. But, I'm going to work with everybody.
Oh, so yeah, no. I get what you mean. And, like, where do you see, like, when, like, writing rooms and stuff, like, that is such a, like, private thing in the industry. You know what I mean? Like, people don't really get to, be in those rooms, like, when you're at the level you're at. And, like, obviously, can you kind of, like, share some light and, like, on, like, how that goes and, like, what it's like sitting in those rooms when, like, you're with people writing up songs and coming up with different melodies?
It's super dope, super dope. It's I feel like it's a gateway into the community. Like, even what I'm doing with Camp Couture, like, I throw, like, a 4-day camp, and I block it off into, like, a 12 to 5 and a 5 to 10 type of sessions where I invite, like, 2 or 3 writers to each space. So over the course of the 4 days, I might have, like, at least 50 writers to be came through the camp, and they all get to network, they all get to share energy, and, create some dope records. We usually end up with, like, 100 ideas. And, a friend in the industry, somebody else, a comrade, where you can, they have the same experiences you have, and they maybe have an opportunity that you may not know of, and they can tell you to pull up. You know what I'm saying? Just having that network is so important if we want to piggyback off of those relationships. So being in the room is pretty dope, you know what I'm saying? But also just being intentional about nourishing those relationships afterwards is even more important to me. But yeah, being in those writing rooms are great opportunity. And what you have to do is pretty much get with someone like me, or a producer who is creating that type of and curating that type of environment, so that you can be in those rooms.
Do you feel like the song quality is usually better when there's like more people working on one track at a time, like, and there's more brains connected to one song versus like just a producer and an artist?
I definitely think songwriters are essential and detrimental to the music business. Like, we definitely need to embrace the songwriters more, because you need sometimes you get burnt out. You need more pizzazz, another flow, another cadence, another wordplay. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
We're here to work together. So yeah, I do feel like I don't say like 30 people on one song will make it better, no, but you know, I do feel like two bands are better than one.
Right. No, that's super cool because I feel like for a long time, like the whole ghostwriter thing around music, especially like in rap, it was like, you know, what? You know, people would almost get denied and like ignored. At least not like in the studios and like in the booth, you know, when there's like people in there, you know, with the artists helping them curate like their art, you know. But now I feel like more and more like it's kind of becoming a more like it's a lot more calm than it used to be. Like when you find out that someone big had like a ghostwriter or whatever, it was like there was almost anger from like fan bases and stuff. But now it's like I think it's a lot more like tamed, and I think that's the right thing to do because it's like I know just from my own like experiences not being an artist, like it's such a cool ability to have more creativity when you're working on a project versus not, you know what I mean? It's just like it's always better to have like more of it. Let's talk more about like your music. For those listening who like don't kind of already know, can you describe like your sound? You know, as an artist, like what? How would you like, you know? But I don't want to say box yourself in, but how would you describe like your sound?
I would say fusion is the perfect word for my sound. I like to infuse a lot of different sounds together, like make the old school drum pattern with a new school melody, or even the old school bass line with, you know, some new cadences, just different, bringing different elements together, like, you know, like Spanish and the reggae tone and just regular reggae, and mixing some of those, you know, flares together. Just putting it all in one pot like a melting pot.
And you were saying a little bit earlier too that you've been working a lot recently with the City Girls.
Yes, I'm at their camp right now. Their songwriting camp today and tomorrow.
Oh, cool. So what have you been kind of working towards with them? And obviously besides just like making music, do you have any idea like what the plans are going to be for the stuff you're working on with them, or that you can share it or not?
I actually don't. Usually with these camps, we just, you know, get in the room, put our heads together and try to, you know, create something great. So, you know, you're just creating at this point. You never know where it may land. It might not even land with City Girls. It might land with Lakia, the other artist they got at QC.
Yeah.
But, you know, you're just out here creating. You never know with this game. It's really like playing the lottery, honestly. But you got to believe. And you got to be talented. And you got to, you know, network. So, yeah. No,
I know who Lakia is. I mean, I'm pretty familiar with... Are you, like, kind of ghostly associated with QC? Like, do you work, like, really closely with a lot of their artists, or...
Right now when they have, like, songwriting camps for their artists, they just, you know, they get records for all the artists that are on the label sometimes, or just a female artist, or maybe just a male artist over there. But I haven't really worked with none of the male artists, but females, they may, you know, they just catalog records for everyone. So I don't work with all of them per se right now, but when they have a camp, they just invite a lot of producers in the city, a lot of different songwriters in the city, and they just say, hey, come in together and create some magic for our artists.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Yeah.
So how often would you say you find yourself going to like songwriting camps for labels and stuff? Like how often is that in the itinerary for the week?
Pretty often. It just depends. Like last week we did one for Babyface. I attended that one. And then next week I'm doing one for some music supervisors for a couple of TV shows. And then in the week after that, I'm throwing my own. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. It's pretty much every week I'm either doing that or I'm doing, you know, just my own production thing where I'm creating like with other producers or other songwriters outside of that just to submit for the, you know, artists.
like this is all stuff that's somewhat new to me, to be honest. Like songwriting camps, like I don't know much about it. And like how like you're having your own like event in 2 weeks.
Yes,
And I'm
having
assuming
my own.
it's in Atlanta, probably one of your studios that you work out of.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
Cool. So like how does it go like operation wise when those start to finish? Like how does it go setting those up before anyone even punches into the studio?
It's a long process. It's just pretty much like throwing a party. It's like you got to get the food, you get the drinks, you get the invitations, you get, you do your schedule, you make sure you get the studio time. It's just kind of like curating an event. It's pretty much like that.
Okay, and it's like I would imagine. Yeah, it sounds like it's a bitter process. It's one that might take a lot of your time up because it's like you got to pin people down to pull up somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which I can relate to. It's hard to do in the music industry, but once you're in there, what are some things in the studio that like you think are essential to help kind of creating good music?
For me, I just like a really good candle, something that gets the aromatherapy going for me. But as long as you got the engineer and someone and some beats and a songwriter, we can make some magic.
Yeah, I feel like sometimes in like comfortable seating is another one that I enjoy. Like sometimes when I go to the studio and it's like the chair is really uncomfortable, or the couches have like holes in the arms, I'm just kind of like, all right, we gotta do something about that, so we can actually enjoy being there the entire time and not be in pain. Like a comfortable space can be inviting too.
Yeah.
Let's kind of transition a little bit into what you do outside of music, like when you're just not I know you do YouTube too. Like you post vlogs on your YouTube channel sometimes too, right?
Not really vlogs, but just maybe cook up videos when I'm at home, just making beats.
Yeah, I saw a lot of those. I could have sworn I saw like a vlog styled video or two, like when you were at a studio session with another artist.
But yeah, probably some of those, and then I do vlogs for my camp. For the camp, yeah, I do.
Yeah. Do you think that's something you're gonna do more going forward and stuff?
Oh yeah, definitely. Ideally, I want to turn it into a TV show, but it's in the works.
Cool. And like, what are some things that you like to do outside of music? Like, obviously, you're a really busy person. I think that's probably no secret. But what are some things that like when you're when you have the free time and you have the time to kind of like close your laptop, not be in Pro Tools, what are you doing?
Outside of music, I'm really into real estate. I invest in land lots, and I got an Airbnb, and I got a car in Toro. I'm a businesswoman. I like business. I like just passive income. I like trading stocks. I like what else I like? That's kind of it.
Okay, but you do real estate, so you're a whole ass like real estate agent too?
No, I'm not a real estate agent, but I'm a real estate investor.
Okay, all right, because I was like, whoa, because that takes a lot of time, like,
yeah.
And these are definitely not like, yeah, I play 2K and some of the other responses I get to this question, like some people obviously say like family time too with their kids and stuff, but like,
oh yeah, that too.
You have kids?
Yeah, I have a daughter.
Oh,
so I have,
cool.
I have a whole family. I have a husband, so that takes up, a whole nother world. That's a whole nother side of it. That too, my domestic life. But yeah.
How long have you been a mom?
3 years.
Cool.
Almost 4 years now.
Yeah. So how are you trying to? So how does it? How do you like balance family life and like the music industry life, because the music industry life is nagging, and like there's no real like hours per day to it. It's hard to like pin yourself down hourly, like when you're working here to here and there to there. How do you deal with that as like a mom and stuff?
It's definitely a balancing act. I will say I have a lot of support, like with my husband and with my mom. My mom actually moved in with me to help me so that I can go to these camps and I can travel and, fulfill my dreams. Get out here and do it. But definitely a support system is super detrimental in Tasha Catour, or they're trying to be great in the music industry, period.
And like how often are you traveling and stuff? Like, are you in and out of Atlanta a lot for events and stuff?
Yeah, I do. So it's a lot. It's really sporadic. You know what I'm saying? So the people might hit you and say, "Hey, I need you here," or "I want you to come work with my artist here." So it's not all the time, and sometimes you have to be intentional about you're setting up stuff. Like you said, "Hey, I'm gonna go to LA for a week, and I'm gonna go plant some seeds. Get some contacts, create some music with my friends up there." It's about that too. So yeah, it's what you make it to.
Who would you say are like some real friends in the industry, in the music industry that like you've worked with, in the future, like they haven't maybe dropped songs yet or whatever, but like who are some real like friends you have in this industry that like people might know?
Really, I would say Tokyo Vanity is my real friend. Kiki is my real friend. It's a couple people, but some of them, you just work. It's like your coworkers. You know what I'm saying? You can't expect to be out, but it's about nourishing it too. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, just those two that I can name off the top that I've actually eaten with, and we hung out outside of doing music.
Yeah, and like when you're kind of just hanging out outside doing like out of music and like you're not doing like the real estate stuff. Like do you watch like movies? Like do you have any other like hobbies that you like to do besides like kind of investments and stuff like that?
No, just hanging out with my family. Other than that, just make sure I'm teaching her, things and giving her experience, taking her out to the zoo and to different attractions in the city, making sure she's enjoying her 3 or 4 years, so far, whatever. And just, watching her smile and enjoying the fruits of my labor, self-care. Like, I love aromatherapy. I like getting massages. I like spas. I like saunas. I like working out.
You like saunas?
Yeah. I don't like saunas, but I like them. You know what I'm saying? As far as like the piece of it, just sitting there and I'm sweating, detoxing. So I do. I like to do that on my self-care at the spa and stuff.
I started doing yoga. Like, very sorry to the listeners who don't think that's true.
Love yoga.
Yeah, yoga's really good. Kevin Durant was the person. Like, I didn't put me onto it personally, obviously, but like, I remember him talking about it one year. He was like out for like a long time. It wasn't the Achilles tear, but he was like, yeah, like yoga is one of the main reasons I'm not like sore every day. And I started doing it this year, and like my neck and back pain just like slowly has gone away. And like I got a new chair. Like that was a big one. You know what I mean? That's like killed a lot of my back pain. So I can definitely get down with this like this little lifestyle thing you got going on outside of the studio and outside of the work life and being a parent, because that sounds just like nice and zenful. What are some goals you have for yourself this year? Like, what are things that you really want to tackle and accomplish by the end of the year?
Securing my brand with just with my instrumental album, securing a couple more placements, securing placements for my team over at Tasha Catour, all my songwriters, because a part of the initiative for that is to, help get more people in the industry, help them, get experience, and get their music out there as well. That makes me feel good, outside of just doing it for myself, but yeah, those are my goals right now.
Cool. And like back on the song camp stuff, like are you, yeah, like how much of that, like, I feel like there's so much more there where it's like you got to go find younger producers who have like no credits, you know. I'm sure it's stuff like that, and like you got to have a couple engineers and like writers themselves. Like, how do you go about the scouting of that? Like, how do you go about filling up the room and filling up the seats that are in the studios to like be a part of these sessions?
Yeah, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work. But it's just about, like I said, back to relationships. When I started as just a songwriter, so I would meet a lot of songwriters, in the camps and in different sessions, and we become, acquaintances. And then, once I started producing, I would reach out to them and just ask them, hey, can you write on my beats? I'm looking for records for City Girls or whoever. Can you write? You know what I'm saying? And they say yes. But it just came a time where I wasn't getting enough songs, and I was just always having to write everybody individually. But now I'm just like, let me build some type of machine where I can, spit them out. It could be, like magic, like clockwork. And I just started counting as I go. Every day I'm looking for new songwriters. Like today I'm at this camp. I'm meeting new people. I'm like, hey, I thought that camp too. Can you pull up the line? You know what I'm saying? It's really just as you go. You don't run into people. And then you start, I got a list of at least 100 songwriters, and I just start weeding them down to the specific people who I'm looking for my camps. Like I might be looking for stuff for Chris Brown. So I invite people who, can write those stuff for Chris Brown, and so forth and so on.
Right. And who on like the producer side of things, like on the more like on the established side and whatever levels, right? Who are the producers that you kind of look towards the most as like, damn, like these are people I'd love to just keep working with like religiously?
You say as far as producers who I want to keep working with?
Yeah.
Maybe Xerius. I really like him. He's a dope producer. He's a dope guitar player. And we do a lot of work together. We got a lot of placement. But other than that, I mean, just everybody. Anybody that can teach me something, honestly.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Well, Tasha, tell people where people can find or tell the listeners where they can find your music. Tell people where to follow you on like social media and stuff like that.
All right. You guys can follow me at Tasha, Tasha Catour, Catour. Tasha Catour. It's pretty much the same on every platform. Yeah. Hit me up. Write me if you want to be a part of the camp. Let me check out your music. And even if you just want to write on the side, hit me up.
Yeah, if you're in Atlanta, go do that. Go find Tasha on social media, listen to her music, go on her Genius profile, look at what she's done. Tasha, thank you for joining me today. Thanks for being here. That was this week's episode of the Culture Capture Spotlight podcast. Tune in again next week for a new episode.